Director's Reflections for August 27th of 2023. To the fourth sword of communism, and I didn't know it. I was lifting through a photo album when I came across one that surprised me. In it, we appear a group of Latin American trade unionists invited to the 20th Congress of the Central Council of Soviet Trade Unions in Moscow back in 1972, posing for an official photo in the Kremlin gardens. Among them was Abimael Guzman, who would later become the leader of Sendero Luminoso in Peru. I wish in Peru, I, with just 4 years of professional practice as a journalist, had attended the Congress as a representative of the Listín Diario's Workers' Union, affiliated with the Autonomous Confederation of Christian Unions. Not only the representative of unions aligned with the USSR went to Moscow, but also those of a Christian democratic tendency chosen by the Latin American Central of Workers, CLAT, led by Emilio Maspero. While the Latin American delegates, communist or Christian Democrats, participated in the activities of the Central Council, I had no idea who Guzman was at that moment. But his appearance caught my attention. He was a tall, somewhat stocky man with an angular face and intense gaze. Like almost everyone else, he was wearing a black suit, white shirt, black tie, and he seemed very serious. Years after returning to the country from Moscow, when an entry ban of more than 2 months that the government imposed on me was lifted, I began to read the profiles of my fellow congressmen. I heard of some who had already died or had withdrawn from union leaders. I read about Guzman and found out that he was a Peruvian philosopher and professor who had been influenced by Maoist thought. He had founded the Shining Path in 1969, a group that had been waging guerrilla warfare in Peru since 1980. Guzman had been captured in 1992 and sentenced. He died in prison in 2021. I was surprised to learn that Guzman and I had been on the same stages in Moscow in 1972, sharing with union representatives from all over the world. Guzman was unknown to us at the time, but I would later discover, reading his biography, that it was clear that he had great ambitions. He was determined to bring revolution to Peru, and he will stop at nothing to achieve it. His supporters came to baptize him and almost glorified as the fourth sword of communism. I imagine that after Marx, Lenin, and Mao, Guzman's idea about the revolution were very radical. He believed that the only way to achieve social justice was through violence. Shining Path carried out a campaign of terror that caused the death of thousands of people. His nom de guerre was Sherban Gonzalo, and worldwide he was known as Comrade Juan. He founded the Communist Party of Peru, Shining Path. He was a brilliant and charismatic man, but also cruel and ruthless. His legacy is one of violence and death. I hope that his story serves as a warning of the dangers involved anywhere in the world in carrying out redemptive struggles through the path of extremism and violence. For Listín Diario, voiceover and translations by Indira Rodriguez.